Current affairs, the 27th of March 2020. FM announces 1.7 lakh rupees crore relief scheme for poor farmers. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has announced a slew of measures to deal with the economic distress caused due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent lockdown announced to deal with the situation. FM announced 1.7 lakh rupees crore relief package, named Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Scheme, aimed at taking care of the poor, urban and rural workers, and those in need of immediate attention. Doctors, nurses, healthcare workers receive 50 lakh rupees insurance cover per person. The government proposes to provide insurance cover of 50 lakh rupees per person to frontline health workers, sanitation staff, paramedics and nurses, ASHA workers and doctors who are working to tackle the COVID-19 illness and face the highest risk of contracting the illness. Government proposes to relax EPF withdrawal rules. The government will relax the Employees Provident Fund (EPF) withdrawal rules to enable easier access to the money and also pay both the employer and employee contribution to the EPF accounts of certain establishments for the continuity of the account for the next 3 months. As per the announcement, the EPFO will now allow withdrawal of 75% of the credit standing in the EPF account or 3 months of wages, whichever is lower. IOC becomes first company to begin supply of BS6 fuel across country. Indian Oil Corp. (IOC), the nation's biggest oil firm, becomes the first company to begin the supply of BS6 fuel in India. The company's 28,000 petrol stations are now dispensing ultra-low sulfur fuel. The Indian government had set April 1 as the deadline for starting the supply of Euro 6 emission-compliant fuels. With this announcement, India becomes one of the few countries that use petrol and diesel containing just 10 parts per million of sulfur. Centre allocates 15,000 crore for healthcare infrastructure to combat coronavirus. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced allocation of 15,000 crore rupees to strengthen healthcare infrastructure to fight coronavirus in India. The fund will be used for testing facilities, personal protection, isolation beds, ICU beds, ventilators and training medical and paramedical staff. SBI commits 0.25% of FY20 annual profit to help fight COVID-19 outbreak in India. India's largest lender, State Bank of India, has announced to commit 0.25% of its fiscal year 2020 profit to fight COVID-19 outbreak situation in India. The fund used to fight COVID-19 pandemic will be spent from corporate social responsibility (CSR) funds. This is in line with Ministry of Corporate Affairs notification of spending CSR funds for COVID-19 as an eligible CSR activity. Amazon teams up with Bill Gates to deliver the COVID-19 test kits. Amazon will team up with the research effort, backed by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is called the Seattle Coronavirus Assessment Network, SCAN, to pick up and deliver coronavirus test kits in Seattle's King County. Amazon Care is the subsidiary of the company, which provides medical care to its employees. Toyota, NTT sign capital tie-up over Smart City project. Toyota Motor Corp. and Nippon Telegraph and Telephone Corp., Japan's auto and telecommunications giants, formed a capital tie-up to build energy-efficient, smart cities, where autonomous vehicles transport residents. The two firms, which have been developing connected cars, equipped with advanced telecommunication systems since 2017, deepened their partnership into mutual shareholdings, with each investing around $1.8 billion by purchasing each other's treasury stocks. ICMR recommends hydroxychloroquine for high-risk COVID-19 population. The Indian Council for Medical Research, ICMR, has recommended hydroxychloroquine as a preventive medication for high-risk COVID-19 population. According to the advisory, it should be given to high-risk population, asymptomatic healthcare workers involved in the care of suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19 and asymptomatic household contacts of laboratory-confirmed cases. UN to create Global Coronavirus Fund. The United Nations will create a fund to support the treatment of coronavirus patients worldwide. The purpose of the fund is to assist developing countries with weak health systems in addressing the crisis as well as to tackle the long-term consequences. Global GDP may drop by 1% in 2020, Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs expects global real gross domestic product to contract by about 1% in 2020, a sharper economic decline than in the year following the 2008 global financial crisis. Global governments have been taking unprecedented measures to contain the COVID-19 outbreak, which is threatening to spark a worldwide economic contraction. Gujarat Police becomes first in India to introduce taser guns. The Gujarat Police is now equipped with taser guns as a part of their modernization drive to ensure public safety and security. Taser guns have been introduced to find an alternative between ineffective lathis and deadly guns. A taser gun uses compressed nitrogen to fire two probes that attach to a subject, sending electricity through attached wires. Tokyo Olympics postponed to 2021 due to COVID-19 pandemic. The 2020 Summer Olympic Games, scheduled to open in Tokyo on July 24, have been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Games will be rescheduled to 2021, according to Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. It's the first time in their 124-year modern history that the Olympics have been moved or delayed during peacetime.